Okay, so this is a video that I made for my daughter. She's 5th grade, and she's doing the place value using decimals. And so here we go. Down here in the right hand corner, I have placed a snippet of a place value chart for decimals because it's different from a regular place value chart, which is probably the first one that you were taught. So I placed it here so that we could work out these problems. Okay, so what we're going to start with first is this basic rounding decimal numbers, and it says round each number to the nearest tenth. Well, I have two different versions of rounding to the nearest tenth, and the only difference is that in these problems 1 through 5 here, we have the numbers extended to the hundreds place. See, the hundreds place. And we start in the ones place to the left of the decimal. And these problems down below here, they go to the thousands place. They have the ones value on the left of the decimal, but they go to the thousands place. So that's the only difference, but you're still going to round to the nearest tenth. Well, where's the tenths place? Well, our place value chart says that it is just to the right of the decimal. It is the first place to the right of the decimal. That is our tenths place. That's our tenths place. Tenths, 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 tenths place, tenths place, tenths place, tenths place. That's our tenths place. That is what we were rounding. That's what we will be rounding. The number to the right of our tenths place will tell us how to round the number in the tenths place, because that's what we've been asked by the directions to round the tenths place. Okay, so this number is a 4, and if you've been taught place value before, you know that if the number is 5 or higher, you round up. If the number is 4 or below, then you round down, or typically it stays the same. And that is why this answer is 7.2, because this number is a 4. So it just allows this 2 to stay the same. This next problem here is 6.88. We're going to round to the nearest tenth. This 8 is above a 5, so we're going to round this number up to 9. Okay, let's do this next one. The number here we're going to round to the nearest tenth is 2.63. Well, it's a 3, so we're going to keep the number the same. It will not go up and it will not go down, because in decimals you're going to either keep the number the same or you're going to round it up. 3.73. It's a 3. It's below the 5, so we're going to keep it the same. It's going to be 3.7. It's going to be our answer. 1.84. The 4 is below a 5, so it's going to let the 8 stay the same. Down here, we're going to, so don't be fooled and don't be confused by the additional numbers. Just focus on whatever the directions are asking you for. And in this case, they want you to round to the nearest tenth, and that tenth place is going to stay the same. No matter how many numbers you place after it, it's still going to be the tenth place right here. So because it is 796, here is the difference here in this problem. It just has extra numbers to the right of the tenths place, but since this is a 9, it's going to make this number go up to an 8, because it's a 7, and the next number after 7 is 8. And then we have 2.221. Because this number is a 2, it just allows this number to stay the same. 4.838. Because this number is a 3, it just allows this number to stay the same. 7.599. Well, this number is a 9. It's above a 5, so this 5 is going to turn into a 6, which gives us 7.6. Hope you understand that. I think it's fairly easy. So I think you got it. Let's move over to comparing. Greater than, less than, or equal to. And so In this answer, it's saying that this 8.67 is greater than 0.867. Well, the reason that 8.67 is greater than is, let's look at our place value chart here. In the ones place, you have an 8 in the ones place. In this problem, you have a 0. Okay, so that already lets you know that the 8 and which number is bigger. The 8 is bigger than the 0. So you really don't have to pay attention to the other numbers to the right of the decimal, because this number is bigger than that number. That's a shortcut. You can always take that shortcut. Sometimes you have to work through the entire problem, but sometimes problems and numbers allow you to take a shortcut. Here's the next problem. You got a 6 on that ones place, and you have a 6 here on the ones place. Here's the dilemma. The 6 and this 6 is the same. This 0 and that 0 is the same, and they're the same places on our place value chart. So then we have to look to whether this number is bigger than this number or vice versa. And in this case, this 8 is bigger than the 6. So this number 6.06 is less than 6.08. Let's move right along to this problem. You have 1.08 and you have 1.13. Well, they both have ones in the one spot, so that makes them equal at that point. But then in the tens place, you have a 0 and you have a 1. So automatically, you don't have to go any further. This number is bigger than the 0. And so 1.08 is less than 1.13. Let's move right along to 0.55. Being greater than 0.055. It's the same process. Don't let the numbers fool you. The 0 in the in the ones place. Now let's move to the right of the decimal. We have the tens place and the hundreds place in this number. The tens place has a 0 on this problem and it has a 5 on this problem. So you know that this one is bigger than that one because a 5 is bigger than a 0. So 0.55 greater than 0.055. Last one, we have 2.78 and 0.278. Let's stick to our place value chart. Let's go back to it as our reference point, and 2 is greater than a 0, and so after that you pretty much already solved the problem, and so you know that 2.78 is greater than 0.278. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great week.